They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're back too, just with a return to Churchill Downs after 3 years of a suspension. You said in your statement this summer that that was really tough on you and that you accepted responsibility for the horses in your care. Is it like launching a new chapter now to be back and to be welcomed back at Churchill Downs with a big victory, by the way?
You know, we went through some challenging times and we got through it, and it's so nice to have all that in the rearview mirror behind me, and I can focus on what's going ahead, and it's going to be, I'm having fun again.
Do you think there's any sustained damage to the Baffert brand?
I think people in horse racing, they understand what went on, and it's one of those things where you just got to put it behind you. You know, one thing, I never look back. I had a client of mine, every time after a race, I'd start complain about something, and he told me, he's a very wise man, he says, it's water under the bridge, Bob. Look forward. And that's the way I look at it.
It's interesting because if you look at horse racing and the numbers, declining horses, declining trainers, declining number of owners over the last 20 years, do you think it's possible that horse racing is poised to reverse that trajectory? Is it poised for a resurgence?
The Kentucky Derby is getting stronger. It's getting bigger because they do a tremendous job of promoting it. It's a bucket list race. And so, but I really think, I see tracks condensing. I think you're going to, just like we're going to see in college sports, what's going on with them. You're going to see schools, you know, tighter. Everybody wants that instant gratification. What
is fueling the interest in horse racing right now? Is it a new crop of Wall Street investors? Is it the widespread access to online sports gambling?
It's amazing. You get, somebody will be watching a race. I've had clients. I had one client I've had now for years. They went to the Kentucky Derby, didn't have horses. They said, we loved it. And they called me up, they got a hold of me, and they go, we want to get in the horse business. Like, it's out of the blue.
Are they doing it for the experience, or is there actual return, financial return on investment? Or do you just have to factor in the experience in the return on an investment?
I think they want to find out what it's like. It looks like fun. You know, they're most of them, it's a secondary business for them, and they want to get involved, and they, you know, they have passion. If you can be successful, you know, if you find the right horse, you can get lucky. Sometimes it's a tough business. There's a lot of peaks and valleys, but if you can ride them out, it's a lot of fun. The reason I got involved in racing is my father loved horses. He loved horse racing, and I tagged along with him when I was 10, 11 years old, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the horses. I have a passion for it. I'll always be around horses. I love the way they smell. I love everything about them. And there's nothing like a horse when you're feeling down, they bring you up. You know, I've had so many horses, and when I've been in a dark place in my life, and a horse will bring me out of that. And I think it's the best therapy for humans. And so to me, they're a therapy. When I'm feeling down, the horse just will bring me out of that dark place. And I've had so many moments like that, and it's hard to explain.
I think people will be surprised to hear you talking about horses in that way. That, I mean, it is such a business opportunity that to hear the spiritual connection you're describing might be a surprise.
Yes, because if you're going to be in this business, there's more disappointments. If you're really good, you're going to lose 80% of the time, if you're really good. Now, if a coach has that kind of record, he's going to be fired the first year, right? So there's a lot of disappointments, so you need something to look forward to.
How long are you going to do this?
As long as I'm competitive, I'm going to keep doing it. If Bill Belichick can coach college, I can keep going for another 10 years.
When you have these billionaire owners, or, I mean, a lot of celebrities have started getting into horse ownership. A lot of venture capitalists and hedge fund guys and Wall Street types. What's it like for you to deal with all these people who are titans of industry? They're used to commanding everything about them, and yet you're the expert when it comes to training a horse.
Well, I know most of these people, they've been so successful. They're smart people. But when they come into the racetrack, it's a total different. I told a client one time, and I know he was a really smart guy. He says, right now, before we go, here's the stable gate. We're going to walk into the barn area. And before we walk in, your IQ is here and I'm here. But the minute we walk in that barn area, whoop, I'm going to be here, you're going to be here. And I'm going to help you through the process, because you just can't get into it. And so what I do, one of my jobs not only is training these horses and trying to find the right races, but I have to educate my clients. If you have a horse, hey, we're going to do this. He's not ready for that. Needs some time. He's a baby, immature. And so they're like players. You have to manage them like players, and you don't want to run them until they're completely right. And when you have people that have that patience, that's very important, because if you don't wait, they'll make you wait longer.
Do you have clients or owners? What do you call them?
I call them owners.
Do you have owners that aren't patient? Do you have owners who want to micromanage? You know, we see this sometimes, right, with billionaire owners of sports franchises, that they want to manage the actual team, and then the coaches and the managers are like, well, now wait a minute, I'm the one who knows how the sports work. Is it like that for you?
Well, when I was coming up, I had a few like that. And so when you're young and you're coming up, you sort of have to work through it. But I've learned to work through it. And as long as you're telling them the truth, that's the most important. They just want to know what's going on. They don't want you to sugarcoat it. They want to know what's going on. As long as you're upfront with them and you tell them, look, he's not that good of a horse, or he's a good horse. But now I've come to the point where in my life, there is those owners out there, and I say, that guy's not for me. You know, I have to have you have to have a mutual respect for each other in order for it to work. Because at the end of the day, you want to have fun. It's a secondary business for them. They want to enjoy it. They want to have fun. And it's entertaining. And there's nothing better than when you have a horse and they own it and he turns for home and he's on the lead, much less the Kentucky Derby. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
There are only 2 trainers in history that have 2 Triple Crown winners. So, like, how is there any bar that's higher than that? Is it 3 Triple Crown winners? What's the goal for you? I
think when you win, the first time I went to the Kentucky Derby, I thought I won. I got beat at nose. Horse way on the outside, and before they hung the number up, I thought I won. I knew what it felt like to win the Kentucky Derby, and it's an out-of-body experience. And then when they put the number up, it was just so deflating. But I came away from there and said, what do you think? I know what it feels like to win. For 4 minutes, I know what it felt like to win the Kentucky Derby, and I can't wait to get that feeling back. And I think once you win it, it's a race that you want to win it again. I think every coach, when they win a championship, Super Bowl, they get that feeling and they want it. They want that feeling back.
So you have, you got a lot of attention for Barnes winning at Churchill Downs on your return. When you have these horses that win, do you, Bob Baffert, face more scrutiny now because of the statement, I accept responsibility for the horses under my care? Like, does that automatically mean for the rest of your career, you're under more scrutiny?
No, I think the whole industry in whole is under scrutiny. And the thing is about it are, the way they test these horses, these horses, they can't live in a sterile environment, but they are testing them like they're living in a sterile environment. And that's the tough part, because when a horse runs, he's being touched by a lot of people, the groom, the assistant trainers, the foreman, the pony boy that takes him to the gate, the guy that holds him in the, there's a lot of people handling this horse, and then he goes to the test barn and somebody else is handling him. So all it takes is one little tiny, they're testing in trillionth picograms, which is very sensitive. And I really think when they get to the realistic, like we have HISA now,
Yeah.
and once they get that figured out and get realistic thresholds where we don't have to worry about environmental contamination, you know, I think it's going to really help.
What does that mean? So HISA is the national regulatory agency that now is trying to establish standards across states, which states have been the ones to set and establish and enforce regulations, right?
Yeah.
How, if you have this federal oversight, how does that propel the sport in your perspective?
Well, I think it's a great concept because, you know, racing needed. We went through a time there where the, you know, public perception was not good, and I think it really helps that they know now, the people that watch, they know that these horses are being, you know, they're being scrutinized. Everybody's watching that. They want to do what's best for the horse, and so it's like watching, when I watch a football game or a basketball game, when a guy takes off for a 100-yard, you know, 50-yard run, I'm not thinking, God, I wonder if that guy's on something.
Yeah.
Because you know, they're scrutinizing. And people watch horse racing. We want them to know that when these horses run, it's a clean sport.
You know, it's interesting because both NFL and college sports have said, since this broad access to sports gambling, and especially online gambling, there's been a level of backlash against referees and coaches and athletes from gamblers who get upset because they lose a bet or whatever. Do you feel that? Like when your horses are out running, do you feel pressure from everybody who's got money riding on that horse?
Well, I think for the gamblers, you know, that's how we generate our purses. Most of our purses is from the gambling. And so when you send a horse up there, you know, the gamblers, they've handicapped, they figured it out. So they want to make sure that, and I want to send the horse up there. They know Bob Baffert's going to send a horse up there that's ready to run. So, but usually, you know, if you're a heavy favorite, you know, it's more pressure. When you're a long shot, you know, those wins feel better because you weren't expected to, those are the great wins.
When you look at the potential for growth in this industry, what do you think are the biggest drivers of that growth, and where are there obstacles that the industry has to address in order to see some level of growth?
Well, I think if you watch, racing has declined because I remember growing up as a kid, there was only like 4 channels. And I remember the thoroughbred racing, it was Willie Shoemaker, famous jockey. He was doing commercials, racing was big. We don't have that anymore. And there's so much competition with different sports, you know, NFL. I remember Lafitte Pinkai, he was a jockey in the 70s, was the highest paid athlete, and he was a superstar. And now, you know, with the TV rights, we don't have that. But, you know, the Kentucky Derby it's a good example. They're getting bigger. People are watching, it's getting bigger, the handle, they're betting more, people show up. And why? Because it's an Instagram moment for everybody. Everybody goes, they're taking their same, I'm here at the biggest party. It's a bucket list race, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Where racing, there's so much of it, it never ends, it just constantly goes. So, you know, maybe we need to streamline it. I don't know.
What do you need? More Kentucky Derbies? Do you need, I mean, there's only one Super Bowl, and yet NFL is doing great, even though they only have one signature game every year.
I would compare us a little bit with the baseball, Major League Baseball. They play a lot of games. But you go to the stadiums and you'll still have 20, 25,000. You go to a Dodger game. But you go, who's out there? Ohtani's out there. You've got all these superstars out there.
Should there be more races for 4-year-olds?
I think we've been working on bigger races. You've got the Saudis have gotten involved. They really jumped into the game. They've got a $20 million race in the desert. Dubai started it. It was great. Dubai World Cup is so exciting, big race. They came with the first $6 million race. The first race was Cigar. It was like great. I mean, it's very important races. So as long as we keep building bigger races for 4-year-olds, then I can see some of the superstars, staying and training, but we need more of that.
You mentioned the Saudis and sort of that Middle Eastern money. What about the surge in interest and enthusiasm in Asia? And overall, does the international growth also lift U.S. growth?
Well, I don't know much about in Asia, but I know Australia, their product is getting huge. Horse racing is huge, and they promote it, and the country's behind it. And that's the thing is, when you have like Kentucky, the state's behind them, and if the state's not behind you, it makes it difficult. And so if you see what's going on in Australia, they're running. They have $6 million races, and the stands are packed full of fans. They're all dressed up, young crowd. And I think in racing, it was just that older crowd. It's a different crowd, and so somebody missed out on bringing in the younger crowd.
In the United States, we just saw Churchill Downs unveil the big $250 million new paddock and grandstand renovations. Belmont is going through a big overhaul. Is that an essential part of attracting a new fan base to the sport?
Well, I went back I saw it for the first time when I was back there, and it was just unbelievable. Churchill, what they did there.
What did you like about it?
Oh my God, it's just first class. It's a big ticket where I went, they showed the new, but it makes it, you want people to go there and enjoy themselves, have fun. Like I said, Instagram, take their friends. It's one of those things where the Kentucky Derby is just, it's if you have never been, it's unbelievable. And then to be able to win it, and that's one of the greatest things. I came from a little town on the border, an hour from here, and for me to think, and here I started messing with horses at Reginato and end up at the Kentucky Derby. You have to perform, you have to have results. And as a trainer, you're only as good as your last win, your last big win. That's just the way it works. It's like a coach. You can win a championship a couple years later. You get a little stink on you, you're out of there. And so I know what these college coaches, they go through. You've got to keep competing. You can't let your foot off the gas. You just got to keep rolling. I don't forget where I came from, and it's exciting. There's a fire burning inside me, and I can't wait to get back.